Mr. Morrison was the owner of a small company. Only 4 people worked there. One day, he came to the office and didn't find his favorite slippers. He always put them on while working. The man searched everywhere and finally spotted them on the roof of the building. Mr. Morrison was furious. He entered the office and started to question his employees. Daniel said, "I don't even know where you keep your slippers." Andrew said, "I'm terrified of heights. I have never climbed up there." Sandra said, "I'm wearing high heels today. I can hardly walk in them." Emily said, "I respect you too much to do it to you." One of the employees is lying. Who is it? It's Andrew. He said he was afraid of heights. But on his table, there's a photo in which he's skydiving with a parachute. Uh-oh. Melissa's boyfriend proposed to her and presented a beautiful diamond ring. The girl was afraid of losing it. That's why she kept it in a box on her vanity table. Once, after a long and difficult working day, the girl came home and went straight to bed. When she woke up, the ring was gone. Melissa called the police. They asked 3 suspects, Melissa's roommate, her best friend, and her neighbor, what they had been doing the night before. Helen, Melissa's roommate for the last 3 years, said Melissa had indeed looked very tired. She took the tea Helen made for her and went to her room at 10 p.m. Helen went to bed shortly after. Eric, Melissa's best friend, said he had come to visit Melissa at about 11:30 p.m. The girl was already sleeping, but he saw a jewelry box lying open on the table. It was empty. Eric was surprised and left immediately after that. Brenda, the neighbor, said she wanted to borrow a book from Melissa, but when she called her, the girl didn't answer. So Brenda decided not to bother her so late at night. The police soon realized one of these people was lying. Who was it? It was Eric. He was only asked what he had been doing the evening before, but he mentioned the jewelry box. He must have known the ring was missing because he took it. A group of friends went camping. They found a beautiful place in the forest near the river. They were planning to spend a week there, but on the 3rd day, Chris disappeared. The rest of the group gathered near a campfire to figure out where he could be. Paul said, "We didn't have enough firewood. I went deeper into the forest to get some. When I came back, Chris was already gone." Ashley said, "I was near the river washing my t-shirt. I stained it with ketchup during lunch." Nancy said, "I felt unwell, so I decided to take a nap. I was sleeping when an owl woke me up." One of the young people is lying. Do you know who it is? It's Nancy. Owls sleep during the day. It means an owl couldn't have woken the girl. Someone started a gas leak in Mark's apartment. Luckily, the man noticed it. He called the police. After searching the place, they found a watch. Mark claimed it wasn't his. The detective decided to set up an ambush. The watch looked expensive. Surely the criminal would return to get it back. At around midnight, they heard the key turn in the door lock. In a while, a man came in. He was holding a lit candle in his hands. At first, the detective wanted to arrest the man. But after a while, he realized it wasn't the person they had been waiting for. How did he figure it out? Whatever the man was doing in Mark's apartment, he wasn't the one responsible for the gas leak. That criminal wouldn't have entered the apartment holding a burning candle. They would be sure the place was still full of gas. The police found out one particular gang was going to rob a bank. An undercover agent was sent to the restaurant where the criminals always gathered in the evening. His task was to attach a tiny GPS tracker to one of the gang members. Then the police would know about their location and would be able to prevent the robbery. The leader of the gang was the mastermind of the group. All other members were just muscle. The undercover officer had to be very attentive around the leader. The man could easily spot the device, but no other gang member would notice it. Where should the agent place the tracker? On the gang leader's backpack. He's the only person who can spot the device, but not if it's on his own back. Police got a call from the house of a wealthy man. He didn't come home after going for a jog. When several police officers arrived, they questioned all the people in the house. They were the maid, the millionaire's wife, and his driver. The maid said, "When Mr. Jones went for a jog, he asked me to prepare his breakfast. I immediately got down to work. But it's been 3 hours and he hasn't returned yet." The wife was worried too. "I saw him in the morning, but he was in a hurry. We just greeted each other and I went to work." The driver told the police he had been waiting for his boss in the car, scrolling through his social media. Who knows something about the millionaire's disappearance? The maid is lying. If she had cut the apples for breakfast 3 hours ago, they would have already turned brown by now. Shirley got a new job as a sales assistant. She was extremely happy to receive her first salary. She went out for a walk in the park and decided to treat herself to some ice cream. She pulled out cash, but a powerful gust of wind has blown the money out of her hands. The girl managed to pick it up, but then she realized one $10 bill was missing. Shirley looked around. One of these people must have taken the bill. Can you figure out who it was? It's the man in the red baseball cap. The bill is under his right foot.
Natalie was the princess, and heir to the throne. One day, during her morning walk, Natalie got lost. She found a house in the forest and went to knock on the door and ask for help. The house was owned by an evil witch that captured Natalie. The witch said this was her chance to win the throne and planned on disappearing with Natalie. So she put the princess in a dark, damp cavern. The witch had forgotten, but inside the cavern, there were 3 doors. Natalie could use one of the doors to escape, but behind the first door, there was a fire-breathing dragon. Behind the second door, there were venomous rats. And behind the last door, there was a dark forest. Which door should she choose? The third door, of course. It will lead her straight back to the forest. Outside again, Natalie still didn't know which way to take to get back to the castle. That's when she remembered that her necklace had a magic pendant on it. The king's magician gave it to her, saying it would always help her find her way home. She used the pendant, and 3 magical animals appeared. The first magical animal was a tiger, the second was an octopus, and the third animal was a butterfly. Only one of them knew the way back to the castle. But if she chose to follow the wrong animal, she would find herself even further away from the castle. Which magical animal should she follow? Did you notice the kingdom banner in the throne room? It had tigers on it. It's the official symbol of Natalie's kingdom, which means she would be best off by following the tiger. Alice was at a crowded concert. Suddenly, she felt somebody reaching into her bag and pulling out her wallet that only had credit cards inside. She couldn't see who the person was, but after checking the footage from the surveillance cameras, security guards were able to narrow it down to 3 suspects. Johnny said he was waiting in line to use the toilet for hours and didn't have anything to do with the theft. Jenny said she was super rich and didn't need anyone else's cards to pay for the things she wanted. Penny said she was too focused on singing along with the band to notice what had happened. The security guards immediately figured out who the thief was. Can you figure it out too? Well, nobody told Jenny that the wallet only had credit cards, but somehow she still knew it. Jenny must have stolen it. 2 friends are sitting at the same table in a cafe. One of them is speaking about a TV show he began to produce, getting into all the details of the production. The second friend is talking about the birthday party he is about to throw next week, saying there's going to be a lot of cool people and delicious food. The other people at the cafe are annoyed by the men's loud voices. But why is this dialogue so strange? Why is one of the guys talking about a TV show and the other about a party? Well, these two guys aren't speaking to each other. They're talking on their phones, through headphones. Lucy found a new job in another city, so she had to move. She contacted a real estate agent to help her find her new house. He showed her 3 options. The first one was a beautiful studio with a view of the park. The second one was a single bedroom that was within walking distance of a subway station. The third apartment was in a quiet and very green neighborhood. Which apartment should Lucy choose? If you look closely, the first one has mold on the ceiling, and the third one looks like it has a rat infestation. So it looks like Lucy should choose apartment number 2. The school's headmaster looks nervous. He gets to his office and opens the door. It was the end of the semester, and all the students were about to take their finals. When he sat at his desk, he discovered someone had been through his papers, and worse, someone had stolen his copy of the physics final. He asked his secretary to check the cameras and track the last people who had crossed the hallway in front of his office. Soon, she gathered 3 suspects. Jimmy from the robotics team said he passed through the hallway to get to the robotics lab that afternoon. Rachel, a new transfer student, said she got lost and ended up wandering the school's hallway looking for her next classroom. And Drake, a TikToker, said this section of the school was perfect for filming his new videos. The headmaster knew which one of them did it. Can you tell who it was? It was Rachel. The principal didn't recall having any new transfer students. It was the end of the semester. She couldn't have transferred that late in a school year.
There was once a magical forest where 32 mermaids, 43 elves, 26 unicorns, and 57 fairies lived. The forest got cursed, and life there got disrupted. The mermaids started living on dry land, forcing the elves to move out. The elves had to move to the territories of the unicorns. The unicorns started to lose their magic powers and needed fairy dust to sustain themselves. So, fairies had to work overtime and were exhausted. There are 4 spells. One will make elves disappear. The second will make mermaids move to the territories of unicorns instead of elves. The third one will heal the species, but only those with an even number of creatures. The fourth will turn unicorns into fairies. Which one should you use? You should use the third one. The mermaids and unicorns are the species that need to be healed, and both have an even number of creatures. Mrs. Collins has 5 daughters: Hannah, Elle, Eve, Anna, and Ava. What is special about their names? They all have palindromic names, meaning they're the same when you read them from left to right and from right to left. Adam was traveling around the world when he found himself in a little kingdom. He didn't have a map or the internet. He was just wandering around. Also, he couldn't read any signs because he didn't know the language. Adam walked into a beautiful castle and ran into 2 girls. It turned out that it was the castle of the royal family, and no one was allowed in there. The girls agreed not to report him, but only if he guessed which one of them was the princess. Can you help him? Look at the wall. There's a painting of the queen and her daughter. She looks exactly like the girl on the right. I bet she's the princess. Genevieve is a time traveler, and she got to ancient Greece. The girl was so mesmerized by everything that she forgot to be careful and blend in. So, she was captured and taken to the emperor. He could tell that Genevieve wasn't from his land, so he started to interrogate her but didn't believe a single word. Still, he was a nice person, so he gave Genevieve a chance to escape.
Yes!
There were 3 young women in front of her. If she guessed which one of them was his daughter, she'd be set free. Can you help Genevieve? Look, this girl has the exact same necklace as the emperor. It must be his daughter. People invented the time machine, and now there are criminals traveling in time and disrupting time flow. The time police tried to catch the imposters, and they need your help. Look at this picture. Do you see the time traveler? It's this dude here. Look at his fancy modern haircut. Back in that era, people didn't have barbershops.
Yeah.
Moving on to the Wild West. Do you see the time traveler here? It must be this person, the one wearing modern sneakers. The next stop is ancient Egypt. Take a very close look and find someone who doesn't belong here. What is this girl wearing? A tank top and shorts? No, she's not from here. Okay, we have to catch some more. For example, here, do you see anything suspicious? I don't think people had cell phones back then. This is the imposter. Okay, another Stone Age image for you. Who doesn't fit in here? This girl looks like a Stone Ager, but she's reading a book. There were no books back then.
Hello.
Great, there's just one last time traveler to catch, and they're in the Middle Ages. Look closely and tell me who you think it is. This guy is wearing headphones. Yeah, that's him.
Oh my god!
Mr. Thompson was in his house reading a newspaper when he heard some noise outside. He walked out and saw that someone had crashed into his car. He asked his neighbors what they'd been doing. Scarlett said that she'd been at home playing video games. Charles said that he'd just come back after a walk with his dog. Tessa said that she'd been gardening behind her house. Who lied? It must be Tessa. She doesn't have any gardening tools with her. And she isn't dressed properly for gardening.
That's it for today. So hey, if you pacified your curiosity, then give the video a like and share it with your friends. Or if you want more, just click on these videos and stay on the bright side.